G'day fellas, welcome to a video where we're going to be taking a look at the brand new patch that's coming out for the Definitive Edition. For anybody who's been sleeping under a rock, Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition has received a massive update with the United States due to drop hopefully any second now. And with it coming a raft of changes, so for anybody wondering with the United States, you can get it for free. It is available right now, but it's going to take you 17 days to unlock it. If you don't want to wait those 17 days, you can purchase the DLC. I believe the price is $4.99 USD, but obviously that will depend on region, where you are in the world, that sort of thing. Everybody's cost is a little bit different. So nonetheless, if you haven't already checked out the United States videos that we've got on the channel, you can tell by the red border and the red writing whether they're focusing on the United States. Otherwise, it'll all be in yellow otherwise. But other than that, let's take a look at what they've got in store for us. Aside from the new Civ, here's a quick look at some of the other great changes coming your way in today's build. Lots and lots of crash fixes and stability improvements. It's really good to hear. There's been a few stability issues over the last patch, so hopefully they fix it up. New unit categories to improve the readability of tooltips and application of effects. That's great. Removed kill XP bonus from all construction wagons and increased the health of more valuable wagons. Fixed an issue that prevented home cities and cards from being accessible during a story campaign. Units trained for free will now wait for the population space to spawn rather than being lost if untrainable to do so. Okay, that's a really good change actually. Major updates to a number and availability of outlaw units and mercenaries. Good, because they were typically not very used. Balance tweaks to 13 civilizations, including the Aztec, Chinese, French, and Swedes. Updates to the Finland, Hungary, and United States revolutions. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So for anybody wondering, this is the first time I'm taking a look at these patch notes. Incredibly curious to see what they've got. 13 civilizations being changed, so really exciting stuff to see. That's what we're going to be focusing on. So let's go down, we'll have a look. Build spotlight, new civilization, United States. Yes, we are very aware. So I'm not going to be focusing on the United States. Well, they've got some wallpapers though. United States unlock event. So just to go through this, so you can unlock 3 challenges max each day. Every 5 challenges, you will unlock a new profile icon, which includes the S+ tier turkey. Very good, very, very good icon. Complete all 50 challenges to unlock the United States civilization. And you can read up on historical factoids about each state as you complete each challenge. There's the turkey, right there. Oh, isn't she beautiful? Oh, what do we call her? She needs a name. Suzanne. Suzanne the turkey. What do you reckon? Oh, we've gone back up to the top. All right, no more. We don't click on Suzanne again. Maybe once more. Nah, I'm just kidding. All right. So you're telling me I can unlock the new US Civ for free? Yep. Where can I find the challenges? They're in your home city. I only completed 1 challenge today. Do I get to complete 4 tomorrow? I don't think so. I didn't get credit for completing a challenge. What happened? You probably have to like start the challenge up and actually click on it. You can't just go into a skirmish and do it. You've got to actually go in and say, you know, challenge, and then I want to complete this challenge, and then go in and do it that way. When's the last day I can complete the daily challenges? To be determined. Don't worry though. We'll let you know at least a month in advance before the United States Civ Unlock event ends. I want the Civ, but don't want to complete the challenges. Great news. You can buy it. Alright, game, stability, and performance. Fixed a crash in the home city code that could trigger when shutting down the game. Fixed a rare crash when saving and exiting a multiplayer game. Fixed an issue when destroying too many buildings at the same time would crash the game. Fixed an issue where the incorrect bone data of previous frames could lead to a TAA blurriness. Fixed an issue where resulting tree models appearing blurry with TAA enabled. Lots of issues with TAA. Fixed an issue where the windowed version of the game would in certain cases appear blurry. Graphics. Fixed an issue where unlocking home city customization with particles would fail to play them properly until the city was reloaded. And fixed updates to the range displays for accuracy and clarity. So lots of good changes in here. A couple of audio changes, UI changes as well. Sending a whisper to another player now displays the correct portrait and name on the sent message. Updated the icon used for the 6 militiaman card in the Indian tech tree. Updated the name of the Hackapel to Harkbuser in the tech tree. Updated the name of the Spanish priest to missionary. Updated the name of the New Year Festival to the New Year Festival in the Lakota Aztec and Udinese tech trees. Haudenosaunee? See, now I'm going to get all those comments like, Drongo, this is how you pronounce it. Udinese. Updated the listing of the artillery foundry. You know what? I'm just looking at the size over here. Check out, okay, look over here on the right-hand side of the monitor. Look how small that is. I think we're just going to get into the good stuff. You know what it is. You know what it is. Some hotkey changes, gameplay general. If you do want to see these balance changes or any of these patch notes, I will provide a link down in the description, so go check that out. Let's have a look what else we've got going on here. Gameplay general. I think this is kind of important stuff. We might look at this. Removed all kill XP bonuses from construction wagons. I understand that. That's quite important. Docs now ignore the placement restriction when playing the treaty game mode. Oh, that's a bit scary. Settlers, villagers, pilgrims, and coureurs de bois now all contribute towards the same build limit. Interesting. Okay, that explains why I couldn't overpop with my treaty strategy for the United States. Homestead wagons can now be used to construct houses or equivalent buildings. But they're expensive. They're like, aren't they 400 wood homestead wagons? Maybe they're the ones that you just get from the shipments. Where possible, the crates delivered by some cards and politicians have been merged to deliver the same quantity of resources in fewer crates. I like that. That's a good change. Fixed an issue where ordering a non-gathering unit to move behind a tree would display the indicator on the tree itself. I'm so glad. This is something that happened to me. I actually brought this up with them because it looked like it was pathing in a certain way and it shouldn't have been doing that. So it's good that it's been fixed. Fixed an issue where certain trickle resources would not correctly contribute to the gathering rate average. Okay, cool. Units spawned from buildings for free, such as heavy cannons at the factory, will now wait for the population space to spawn rather than being lost entirely if blocked from doing so. I mentioned this in a game that I played, a 3 versus 3 against H, number 1 on the ladder at the time, and against Kanisi, who I think at the time was like number 2 on the ladder. So I'm glad that that's been fixed, because otherwise you lose it completely. It feels terrible. You got to remember to switch them off, otherwise you just lose them. But now that's been fixed, so it's really good. Fixed a rare bug where outpost or blockhouse wagons obtained via Hungarian and Romanian cards could not be constructed upon delivery. Fixed a bug where the game would fail to pause when prompted the first time. Fixed an exploit where various units such as native warriors could be trained from any trading post, including those built along a trade route. I mean, it wasn't so much an exploit as it was just a bug, but sure, we'll call it an exploit. I mean, if you knew how to achieve it, you could do it, but otherwise people were just accidentally doing it when they were changing their crates over for the trading post. So good stuff. Civilization balance. Here we go. Here's the good stuff. General. Saloon is now exclusive to the United States and has been overhauled with new features, cards, and interaction options. All European civs now construct taverns rather than saloons. The Indochina and Indonesia maps have been updated to reflect this. All Native American civilizations can now construct native embassies as a default civilization feature. These can be used to train Wild West outlaw units similar to the behavior of European taverns. I guess that's good for the Lakota. All Native American civilizations can now train the new captured Mortar unit in the Imperial Age from the native embassy. This is an artillery unit with similar stats to the howitzer and which can be upgraded by native upgrades such as the legendary natives as well as various home city cards. And natives all around the world rejoiced. Oh my gosh, I can see Fitzbro right now just jumping up and down about the captured Mortar. There was a huge issue that he had, and a lot of native civilizations have, in dealing with people who just wall up like crazy and sit in their base. They don't really have a big siege option. Like sure, you've got Arrow Knights for the Aztec, but they don't really do much. For the Lakota, you don't have any ranged siege option. So this is a really great solution that they've found. Wonderful. 350 coin, 150 food. Reasonably priced as well. The following mercenaries have been added to the random pool. Napoleon Gun. 500 coin, 5 pop. And Zouave. 400 coin, 2 pop. Also, so these are new. You can take a look at them. That's their stats right there. Now, obviously, this is before any kind of buff, so the Imperial buff that you get, it's not included in this. And the Napoleon Gun. So kind of like the leather cannon. Just slightly increased stats. It's also got the case shot coming as a default. Also got an extra case shot attack. Zouave is kind of just like a skirmisher that doesn't have any multiplier. So just a very high base attack. You can get counter infantry rifling on this and make it 2 times against heavy infantry though, so pretty good. You can also get the Ronin, Yojimbo, Iron Troops, and Jat Lancer, which are all H4. In addition to these, 3 random mercenaries increased from 2 are now available from the Saloon, Tavern, and Native Embassy. Is this music too hard? I feel like this music's a little bit too hard. Maybe I just turn this music down slightly. Now I can't even hear it. Let's just go back to the lo-fi, the standard stuff. I'm sorry to everybody who's like, not lo-fi. Sorry, guys. You know how DMCA works. If I play even just 5 seconds from, like, you know, Justin Bieber's latest hit, bam, everything's gone to him. I do an hour-long video, 5 seconds of JB, all gone. Sorry, JB, just not today. Not today, buddy. All right, let's get back into it. So the native embassy is now once again constructed by villagers rather than heroes. What about the Dutch, though? Okay. A change originally introduced to accommodate the Dutch, who have more buildings than can be displayed on the villager construction panel. To prevent this issue from re-emerging, the Dutch now use envoys to construct their native embassies. You know, I don't know whether I like it, but it's not about whether I like it. It's about whether it works. And, you know, for somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder, having to build their native embassies with envoys and not settlers where everybody else gets to do it, it could probably be a bit frustrating. But it's a design choice, and I understand why it exists. So, you know, good on them. I think they solved that issue. They've made changes to making the game less punishing and more survivable if a wagon accidentally arrives at a forward home city shipment point. I think this is directly targeted towards Knushelbeer in the finals of the table topper. For anybody who is not aware, essentially what happened was Knushelbeer sent a factory wagon to his forward outpost. Forward outpost? Maybe, yeah, his forward outpost. It was like slightly in front of his town center, and it died. It just got immediately focused. Oh, it was terrible. Speaking of table topper, this weekend we've got the table topper coming up. It's going to be on the EGC TV channel as well as mine. So if you're interested in seeing that, I encourage you, head over to the Twitch. I think, where is it? Down in that corner over there. The Twitch TV will probably flash up. Probably going to be obscured a little bit by the monitor at the moment. There it is. Watch live, Aussie Drongo. It's coming up right now. It's obscured a little bit by the monitor. I made it a little bit bigger for the patch notes because I've got the face on here now. If you do like the face on here, make sure you like the video. If you don't like the face on the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I think, is that what we call a win-win? I think we take both of those. So, nonetheless, fellas, Tabletop is coming up this weekend. Going to have a lot of great content coming up. So, if you're interested in seeing that live, head over to Twitch. I'll be shouting it out more and let you guys know. But other than that, we've got a whole bunch of changes to the Commissario, the Pistolero, the Renegado. I'm not going to go through them just because these changes are quite significant, and we're already at 12 minutes in this video, and we haven't even got to the good stuff yet. So other general unit balance changes. Dragoon corrected the hand shock infantry multiplier obtained via the consulate from 2.75 down to 2.25. Okay. Gatling Gun reduced the cost from 400 down to 250 coin to better reflect their strength. Their wood cost remains unchanged at 100 wood. Lance Connect, oh no, I've said it. I'm so sorry to my German viewers out there. Please, 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 please. Amen. That's, I'm quoting the Finnish surgeon right there. The land snail has been granted the Oberhauer charge action, which deals 3 area damage. This is a charged action, okay? So charge action, the way it works, okay? Think of like your Explorer, okay? You know with the Explorer how he does that, the snipe shot, the crack shot. You choose when you want to do that, right? This ability, it happens automatically, but then it goes on cooldown. So basically just think of it like a... I don't think there's anything really in the game, but it's charged, which means it will happen automatically, and then it will go on cooldown for like 20 seconds, and then when it's back up, it'll just do it automatically. It's basically, if you've got like 10 if you've got 10 of those units, they're going to do it automatically, all of them. You're not going to have to micro it, so it's a good change, a really good change. Makes them a lot more viable. Then we've got priests, imam, and surgeons now having a build limit of 30 to stop those troll priest strategies. Trading Post Travar corrected the health from 150 up to 250. The Zapotec Lightning Warrior reduced the health down from 210 down to 190. The capital building has been adjusted to parity to the new US state capital, so it's reduced the cost of wood from 400 to 300, increased the build XP from 160 up to 300, and increased the line of sight from 12 up to 34, equivalent to the town center. I didn't know that that's how big the US state capital's line of sight was. I've got to start putting those in more... In better spots. It's like a tower, man. That's massive line of sight. All right, upgrades. Oh my god, look at all these upgrades. Aztec Chinampa now affects farms and rice paddies. Cheyenne horse trading now improves the trading speed of all cavalry type units. Lacrosse, the heavy monitor upgrade now properly set prerequisite to researching Imperial monitors. I didn't realize that that was a prerequisite. That makes sense. Lacrosse now properly improves the damage of all ranged infantry. I think that's the... Is that the French upgrade? We've got a whole bunch of stuff in here for natives, but they're so underused, I feel like it's just not worth the time right now. Just once again, guys, if there is something that you want to see, either pause the video or I'll link in the description down to these. Now let's move on to the cards. So capitalism increased the coin trickle rate from 1.25 to 1.5 coin a second. A good change. Case shot. All case shot attacks now deal 0.5 damage to cavalry type units. Really good because case shot was totally busted against cav. Engineering school now probably applies to benefit to all artillery, including Gatling guns. Team engineering school card has also been adjusted accordingly. Stonemasons moved to H2 for all civilizations. That's a good change. I think that's a good change maybe for treaty. Definitely for deathmatch, you can fit more cards in that H2 now. So really good stuff. All right, let's move on to the good stuff, the Aztecs. Oh, the balance changes. This is what we all come here for. We meet here every month and we say what balance changes are going to be here. We're finally here. The Aztecs. Civilization. Increase the time it takes for all council members who advance from Age 1 to Age 2 from 70 seconds up to 80 seconds. The exemption is the messenger. So I suspected this would be a change that we saw. We have indeed seen it. For anybody who missed the Aztec rushes that we were doing, it was like 4 minutes that we were getting Skull Knights into people's bases. So now at least it's going to be 4 minutes and 10 seconds. So a little bit better. Obviously, this is still an overall buff from the 90 seconds that it was before. So 90 seconds down to 80 seconds. Originally, it was 90 to 70, now 70 to 80. So let's have a look at the units in buildings. Skull Knights now slowly heal when idle. Skull Knights corrected shock infantry multiplier from 2 to 2.2. That's a good little buff. The Skull Knight now has access to a powerful charged action. Remember, we talked about the charged action before. Obsidian Storm, which triggers upon recharge. Obsidian Storm is similar in style to the Swashbuckler attack. So it's where they like do a spin around and do a whole bunch of AoE. Identical to normal attacks, but deals +2 area damage. That's sounding pretty good. And 33.3% damage with no multipliers against any unit type. That's sounding really good. 30-second cooldown. Units that die to the air attack are flung away. Okay, I'm potentially seeing the Aztec Fast Industrial coming back just because of this change. That sounds absolutely awesome. Especially that they get flung away. You can just imagine everyone like spinning to win and then just flinging everyone away. So that's pretty good. Cards. 9 main allies now displays the correct number over the card icon. A great temple of support now also improves the Skull Knight's charged actions. Do we dare? Hoots, hoots, hoot, hoit, hut, hoit, hoit, zillo, puchtili. Hoit, zillo, puchtili. There you go. The British. Team Cheap Docks now also reduces the cost of Native American big button upgrades available at the dock. So you're telling me the Aztec 2000 food big button? The tooltip reads, Team Docks and dock upgrades are 30% cheaper. Naval big buttons upgrades are 50% cheaper. I can totally see that becoming a strat. That could be busted. Team Cheap Docks plus. So the Aztec get this big button at their dock. 2000 food. You get 4 Talok canoes. I'm pretty sure it's in Age 2 as well. So you could potentially sling for that, and it's only 1000 food now instead of being 2000. Hey, I'm just saying. It could work. You could do that on maps like Malaysia. Oh gosh, Malaysia or Baja, California. Just throwing out ideas. Send me the replay if you got it. The States no longer reduces the speed of settlers trained at the town center. Good change. So it actually did reduce. So it increases the train time of settlers from 25 seconds up to 50 seconds. It did that for all of the manors and also did it for the town center, but not just the, so now you can still train at the town center at the normal rate. So good change. The Chinese, the below changes to the Chinese civilization are made for the purpose of treaty balance. Okay, so we'll still just take a little look at it. German relations. The German Expeditionary Army now grants 1 heavy cannon and 18 needle gunners. It was 2 heavy cannons and 11 needle guns, so a good change for China. They had a lot of artillery in the late game. Cards. Acupuncture now partially applies its effect to heavy cannons created at the factory after opening relations with Russia via the consulate as intended. Infinite 15 Rattan Shields changed to Infinite 10 Rattan Shields. That's a pretty big... Oh, that's a massive nerf. I know Rattan Shields were just really, really strong in treaty. And Old Dynasty reforms increased the added cost to train affected units from +20% to +25%. Okay, so some pretty big nerfs for Chinese, obviously, in treaty. and for late game as well. I think fast industrials kind of hurt a little bit from this as well. So, but not overly, not a huge amount. The French. Tiny crates of food containing 50 food half crates have a new visual model to quickly communicate their reduced food total at a glance. Really, really cool. French are no longer granted courrier de bois from team villager shipments. Okay, that's good. 3 courrier de bois coming in on a team shipment. That's like 3.75 villages. Pretty big buff. Upgrades. The following technologies, which are enabled at the church by the Edict of Nantes card, have been adjusted so that the correct technology tree and improves the function of grenade launcher card, which enables the training of super equipped grenadiers. Moved the Imperial Young Guard technology from the Fortress Age to the Commerce Age. Oh my god, that's awesome. Improved the Imperial Middle Guard from the Industrial Age to the Fortress Age. Imperial Middle Guard no longer activates Guard Grenadiers upgrade, but instead grants Grenadiers 10% attack and hit points. Imperial Old Guard no longer grants Grenadiers, okay, but instead gives, okay, I see what they did there. Right, so basically they just brought it forward so that in the Fortress Age you can actually use Grenadiers viably as the French now, and so you basically get the Fortress or the Veteran upgrade for free, and you get an additional 10% attack and hit points, but you don't get the Guard upgrade because that would be totally busted. Cards, Wilderness Warfare now also increase the hit points of Cray Courrier de Bois. Okay. The German cards which upgrade cavalry units now improve Gauchos, Comancheros, and the Lanero Revolutionary and Outlaw units, so a nice little change there. Incas, llamas no longer fatten while tasked to the community plaza. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting mechanic. I never thought about that. You could have like a whole bunch of llamas dancing on the community plaza, you know, at the same time fattening and then swap them out. That's pretty cool. But obviously you can't do that anymore. Sending the Curare card now renames the Jungle Bowman's range attack to range Curare attack, meaning that the upgrade can be scouted by checking the unit's stat panel. Fixed a bug where the Native Treaties card would deliver more units than intended if preceded by an American Allies card. Native Treaties will now deliver the same number of units regardless of how the alliance was formed. Rest in peace, Native American Incan Rush, which was like 28 units at 6 minutes. There was a reason I didn't put it on this channel. It was so silly. Oh my gosh. Old Ways fixed a bug where the coin cost of the Incan raiding party, big button, would not be decreased. Son of Inti fixed a bug that would prevent the war chief's hand attack from properly inflicting splash damage. So, good changes here, definitely. Looking at the strength of the Inca and the native rush that the Inca could do. I think overall this is a really wonderful change. I like that you can now scout Curare as well as, you know, getting rid of the native rush, which was a little bit ridiculous. I lost to this many a time. Yukity, I'm looking at you, Yukity. The Indians. Mansabdars corrected the attack damage of certain Mansabdar units to ensure that each has the same attack and double the hit points of their counterpart units. Good change. Now Mansabdars now benefit from their own damage auras, ensuring that they inflict the same bonus damage as other units influenced by their aura. Really good change. Bombay Marine, so a card, improve the tooltip text to better reflect the functionality of the card. All military boats train faster and give more experience upon construction, +1 villager. All boats train faster and give more experience points upon construction. So it's all boats, so fishing boats included. There you go. The Lakota, Civilization, Fire Ceremony no longer boosts the siege damage of abstract artillery units. Okay, because they wouldn't want you having a captured mortar with, what, 150% siege attack? That would be ridiculous. So a reasonable change. The Ottomans. The Nizam Fusilier now benefit from counter-infantry rifling when in volley mode, as intended. Good change. Cards. Silk Road now also improves the experience income of trading posts as intended. Oh, experience income. Okay. Cool change. I don't think you'll really use it that much unless you're trying to beeline for a shipment, but I mean, it's good that they're fixing that up. It's a 25% increase if I remember correctly, so it's quite substantial. Portuguese. Dragoon combat now also improves Laneros obtained via the Gran Colombia shipment. And Cheap Team Outpost now reduces the cost of noble huts along with other outpost buildings. I think these are quite rarely used, so it's good that they're being buffed at least. Make them at least slightly more viable. I suspect they're still not going to be viable at all. Alright. The Spanish. Archaic infantry upgrades now grant the benefit to all hand infantry and foot archers, allowing them to synergize more effectively with native warriors and mercenaries. Okay, so let me just read that again. Archaic infantry upgrades now grant their benefits to all hand infantry and foot archers. Okay. So for mercenaries, that's like... what is it? The Iron Troop? That's a foot archer, right? But there's no guarantee you'll get iron troops, but like, yeah, okay. I mean, sure, it's a small buff. Rather than delivering bonus crates, the Spanish logistician now directly deposits resources into your stockpile. Bro. Oh, wait, hold on. So it doesn't give you bonus crates anymore? Is it because if it's the same, if they give you the bonus crates and directly deposit the resources into your stockpile, then we're talking. But if you use, because you used to get an extra 200 food, 100 wood, and 100 coin, if I remember correctly. If you don't get that anymore, and it's now just directly depositing resources into your stockpile, I mean, I guess it's not bad. If you're going Spanish gold, it's just plus 400 gold constantly. You don't have to worry about it ever again. Maybe. We'll see. We'll have to do an inspection and check that. But there's definitely potential there. If you get to keep both, there's totally supremacy potential there. The default beginner deck is now more suitable for players beginning to explore the Spanish civilization. Sure. Team Archaic Soldier Training slightly reduced the training time bonuses granted to Archaic Infantry and Archers down from 50% to 40%. So, I mean, overall, here's some good changes for the Spanish. I definitely do like things directly depositing resources into your stockpile. There's a card for the United States in the 4th age. When you age up with New Jersey, I think it's called New Jersey Seaports, and it does the same thing, and it feels so good, man. You ship in like, it might not be New Jersey Seaports. It might be the one next to it, but it does the same thing as this, and it feels so good. You send like 1,600 resources, and they just go straight into your bank. It's really cool. It feels really good. The Swedes. Who cares about the Swedes? We're not interested in the Swedes. Swedes was last week. This week, we're all about the United States. We'll check what's going on. So the Swedes, looks like they've been nerfed. Reduced the gathering rate from blueberry bushes from 0.64 down to 0.57. This is still 1.7 times the collection speed of normal berry bushes, down from 1.9. So it's a minor change. Just keep in mind, like, when you think about this, obviously it's a nerf, but it just means that your blueberries are going to last longer. So it means that you're not going to notice the fall off from your blueberry economy until a delayed stage, because they're not reducing the amount of berries that are in the bushes, or the amount of blueberry or berries that are in the blueberry bushes. So as a result, instead of it taking 12.5 minutes to completely exhaust that bush, now it's probably going to take like, 14 minutes, something like that. So it's still a nerf overall. Obviously, you want that food as quickly as possible, but you're still going to get that food eventually. So it's a nerf, but it's not as big as it appears to be. Upgrades. The effect of the Savalax Jaegers technology has been updated. So that was the Savalax Jaegers was what you could get from the unique church card. So it ships 6 Jaegers and upgrades all Jaegers into Savalax Jaegers. Savalax Jaegers have slightly more hit points. I think it's 5%. Can use the stealth ability and partly cost wood to recruit. These changes aimed at making mercenary arms less draining on coin. Oh man, this was totally one of my issues with Jaegers. The whole reason why I didn't want to put Jaegers in the S tier for ranged infantry was because they cost 200 coin, and it's so difficult. Like, you become the most coin-reliant civilization all of a sudden because you have to mine every single coin out just for your skirmishes, like just to support your requirement for skirmishes. Whereas like other people, if they've just got normal stock if they've got normal stock skirmishes, 50 wood, 50 food and 65 coin. So it's the combination of both. Whereas Jaegers were 200 coin, you were just mining coins like crazy. So this is a wonderful change. This is great. So obviously they're more expensive though, because wood is more expensive than coin, but wood is more plentiful. There's a lot more wood on the map than there is coin. It's going to take a lot longer. I suspect that you're going to see a lot more Swedish players really opting for this card, and then looking at doing the market upgrades. So things like gang saw, log fume, and then eventually circular saw as well. So really maximizing their efficiency there. But this is a great change. It should also make the Swedes' unique church card, Treaty of Roskilde, more appealing, which also grants powerful hand infantry improvements, which can be used to defend groups of Jaegers or artillery. Yeah, that's a great point. This is a good change. This is a really good change. And it definitely, that was a huge issue that I was having with Jaegers, because like you got to think about it as well. If your opponent sees that you're going Jaegers, they just make falconets, and a falconet kills a Jaeger just the same way it kills a skirmisher. So you've just basically got really expensive cannon fodder, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. Cards. So Great Northern Forest, reduce the maximum wood income from 1 to 0.7. So for anybody wondering, this is that Age 4 Torp card. It's not a really strong card in Supremacy. In Treaty, it's a really good card. I mean, it's still a strong card, don't get me wrong. But it's hard to find space in your deck for this card. You know, if you maximize this, you could get like 2 factories worth of wood income from it, but it was very hard to do. And then we've got Oxenstierna Reforms, reduce the exchange rate of food to coin from 1.3 down to 1.25. So this was the fur trade equivalent. So good change here, targeting treaty, no doubt. So politicians. So that's pretty much it for all the balance changes. So overall, we've got a nerf for Sweden. I mean, it's a nerf for Sweden, but at the same time, it's a buff. It's kind of a change. I mean, I guess you would call it a nerf because blueberries is going to be a lot more important than Jaegers, or it's not more important, but a lot more impactful. You're definitely going to feel it in the early game. So a nerf for Sweden. Spanish, it's a change. Portuguese, it's a slight buff. Ottomans, I mean, it's more of a fix. Lakota, I would say Lakota are just getting buffed, definitely. Their late game is getting buffed. Indians, it's kind of just a general change. Incas getting nerfed, so that's great. Germans, it's more of just a bug fix. French, I would say, to be honest, I'd say this is a buff. I don't know whether it's going to be viable for like at the top level where we're actually going to see this. I know that Kaiser Client is a big fan of this strategy, but I think it's more of a meme build rather than anything. So I don't know whether I would call this a buff or a nerf. It's objectively a good thing for them because it makes it more viable, but when it comes to how often it gets used, I don't think you can really justify it. But for the Chinese, definitely a nerf here coming in for the Rat and Shields. Rat and Shields are quite common to include in the deck for Fast Industrial. I don't know whether it's just the infinite Rat and Shields, or it might just be, I think there's a single card that you can send once. It might be like 26 Rat and Shields that you send. But other than that, and then Aztec, it's to be honest, this is kind of a buff. This is a buff, and it's a really good buff because it takes away from the Aztecs early game, which is good because they're really strong in the early game, have a very high win rate in the early game, and then kind of says, well, hey, we want you to think more about the mid game, and we want the Skull Knight to be a viable unit. And now I'm looking at the Skull Knight, and man, I'm excited. I get shivers down my spine because I'm like, I can play Aztec again, and I can do the strategy I want to. I don't want to be sending 2 Skull Knights into someone's base every game at 4 minutes. It's just, sure, it's fun for the first 20 games, but after 20 games, man, it gets boring. But you know what's not boring? Fast Industrialing for Skull Knights. Especially like Skull Knights that are going to be flinging away people when they do this area attack damage. This is going to be so sick. Can you just imagine like, what is it? Like the 12 Skull Knights popping out of the town center at the same time, and they've all got this Obsidian Storm, and your opponent's sieging it, and they just pop out and just fling everybody away and kill them all. That's going to be awesome. So definitely an Aztec buff, definitely a Sweden nerf. I think that's what we'll call it from here. Then we've got Politicians, Mercenary Contractor. Now it properly improves all outlaw units. Revolutions. Okay. Karelian Jaegers. So for Finland. So the Karelian Jaeger can now construct docks. Karelian Jaeger increases the crate collection rate to match that of villagers. So it's up from 4 to 8. So good changes. We've got the Baltic Fleet as well. So it can be sent an infinite number of times, delivers a monitor and a frigate to the revolting nation. This is a really good card. That's much better than you can get in a normal Supremacy deck. Normal deck, rather. That's a really good card. Hungary. Grenzers. Reduce the hit points reduction from -20 to -10%. Hit points, their range bonus remains unchanged. Okay, so if I remember correctly, I'm going to be honest, I don't actually know what the Grenzer is. I probably should. I'm trying to think as hard as I can. I'm not sure. We might have to come back to that one. United States. Increase the number of Gatling guns spawned at each fort, revolting from 1 to 2. So you can still have 2 United States in the game. Volunteers renamed to Revolutionary Sharpshooter. Revolutionary Sharpshooter. Revolutionary Sharpshooter now benefit from cards which improve skirmishes for civilizations that can access the United States Revolution. So if you're playing as the United States and you go up against a Swedish player, technically, or a British player, they can technically revolt to the United States and join you. And then the game just ends and nobody wins. In fact, we all win. No, I don't. That doesn't happen. You would still fight to the death. You would have the United States against the United States. I just know there's going to be people in the comments like, oh, it doesn't make sense. They got to remove the United States. It's like, you got to remember, guys, okay, first and foremost, this is a game. There's a lot of stuff in here that doesn't make sense. Second of all, I get it. But, they're not going to just remove a giant aspect of 2 civilizations because they've introduced it in a more thorough sense, over here. It would be a little bit crazy, especially considering they just reworked them for the definitive edition. There's a lot of people who like that, but I don't know. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys reckon? Is that an unpopular opinion? Do you agree with that? For me personally, I just think this, this is, number one, this is a game. This isn't a history textbook. All right, let's move on. Localization. We're not too worried about localization. Ongoing investigation. This is one of my favorite parts, okay, because it lets us know what they're still looking at. So here is a brief update from our production team regarding some of what is still in the works. Stuck units. We believe we have fixes for most of the root problems causing this issue. Once they've been tested and included in a build, the most valuable thing you can provide if you encounter it again is a replay file that shows the units getting stuck, the name of the map, detailed steps on what commands were issued or steps resulted in the unit getting stuck. Create a new thread on the official forum and we'll do what we can to investigate and implement a fix. So that's good stuff. They want to hear about it. I suspect it's something to do with the definitive edition. I understand there might have been a few changes to pathing and perhaps that's probably what's done it. And Team North Carolina Quakers. We've identified a desync triggered by this particular United States Homestead card. Please avoid adding it to your deck for the time until we're able to resolve the issue in an upcoming hotfix build. Alright, so North Carolina Quakers is what you get from, I think it's the North Carolina Age Up in the 4th Age. And so they're just asking you, please don't include it. You can include it in your deck, so if you want to go North Carolina as the Revolution. I think it's North Carolina. Let me just check. Got it up here. South Carolina. Is it South Carolina? I don't know. North Carolina Quakers. I'm not too sure. But nonetheless, avoid adding it. But other than that, fellas, I think overall this is, an incredibly detailed update. Not a huge, there's not a lot of change. It's not that there's not a lot of changes. There's not a lot of huge changes. There's minor nerfs coming to Sweden. There's a buff coming to Aztec, while still reducing the power of their early game. So that's a really good thing. But other than that, I don't think there's too much else to talk about. Obviously, we've got the United States coming in. We'll be live on Twitch right now, and we're going to be playing the United States all day, all night. In fact, every single day this week, we're going to be live on Twitch. For me, 4 a.m. So that's Australian Eastern Standard Time. I think that's 18 GMT. So if you'd like to come in, say good day, we'll be here all week, 18 GMT, on Twitch, live, playing the United States, trying to climb up the ladder, probably be on a few, maybe like a new account, and see how high I can climb with the United States on that fresh account, and really just focus on playing and honing in the skills on the United States. So if you'd like to see that, come over, check us out. Other than that, fellas, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.